Most people never reach their first $100,000. Not because they're lazy. Not because they're unlucky. And not because they don't earn enough money. The real reason is far more frustrating. Most people quit right before wealth starts getting easier. That sounds impossible. After all, shouldn't building wealth get harder as the numbers get bigger? Most people think so. But the truth is almost the opposite. Imagine two people starting the same journey. Both decide they want financial freedom. Both start saving money. Both begin investing. Both make sacrifices. At first, their progress looks almost identical. Slow. Painfully slow. So slow that it barely feels like progress at all. Every month they save a few $100s. Every month they invest. Every month they wait for something exciting to happen. But nothing exciting happens. The account grows. Just not fast enough. The numbers move. Just not enough. And that's when the first person makes a mistake. He starts questioning the process. Maybe investing isn't worth it. Maybe he needs a faster strategy. Maybe he needs a bigger salary first. Maybe he should wait until life becomes easier. So he slows down. Then stops. And without realizing it, he resets the clock. The second person feels exactly the same frustration. But keeps going. Not because he's smarter. Not because he's richer. Simply because he understands something most people don't. The beginning of wealth building is supposed to feel boring. In fact, boring is usually a sign you're doing it correctly. A few years ago, a study of self-made millionaires found something surprising. Most weren't financial geniuses. Most didn't get rich from a lucky stock pick. Most didn't build massive businesses. Instead, they consistently invested for long periods of time. That's it. Not exciting. Not glamorous. Not viral. Just consistent. And consistency is difficult because human beings are wired to seek immediate rewards. We like results we can see. We like progress we can feel. We like purchases that provide instant gratification. Buying something today feels good immediately. Building wealth often feels like nothing is happening. That's why so many people struggle during the early stages. Imagine planting a tree. For months, almost nothing seems to happen. The seed sits underground. You water it. You wait. You wonder if it's working. And because you can't see growth, you're tempted to stop. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Strength is developing. The foundation is being built. Wealth works the same way. Most of the important progress happens before the results become obvious. The first few $1,000s feel insignificant. The first $10,000 feels smaller than expected. Even $25,000 often doesn't feel life-changing. And that's exactly why people quit. They expected excitement. Instead they got patience. They expected transformation. Instead they got discipline. They expected visible success. Instead they got invisible progress. But eventually something changes. Your investments become larger. Compounding starts becoming noticeable. Your money begins helping you. For the first time, growth isn't coming entirely from your paycheck. It's coming from assets you've already built. That's when people finally understand why the first $100,000 matters so much. Not because it's a magical number. But because it's often the point where momentum becomes visible. At the beginning, saving $500 requires effort. Years later, your investments can generate that growth on their own. The game changes. The problem is that most people never stay consistent long enough to experience it. They leave the game too early. Think about how often society sends the wrong message. Social media celebrates spending. Advertising encourages consumption. People post luxury vacations. Luxury cars. Luxury lifestyles. Very few people post screenshots showing 10 years of disciplined investing. The habits that create wealth aren't exciting enough to go viral. But they work. And that's the difference. One person spends years chasing excitement. Another spends years building assets. 10 years later, they look like they played completely different games. One has memories of purchases. The other has ownership. One has lifestyle upgrades. The other has freedom. One has appearances. The other has options. And options are what wealth really provides. Real wealth isn't a sports car. Real wealth isn't a luxury watch. Real wealth is knowing an unexpected expense won't destroy your plans. It's having choices. It's having time. It's having the ability to walk away from situations you don't want. That's why wealth and income are not the same thing. A high income can create the appearance of success. Wealth creates actual freedom. And freedom is built through consistency. Not intensity. Consistency. The person who invests month after month usually wins. The person who avoids lifestyle inflation usually wins. The person who stays patient usually wins. Not immediately. But eventually. That's the part nobody talks about. People dramatically overestimate what can happen in a year. But they massively underestimate what can happen in a decade. A decade of consistent investing can completely transform someone's financial future. Not because of one perfect decision. Because of thousands of small decisions repeated over time. So before you leave this video, ask yourself one question. Are you actually failing to build wealth? Or are you simply standing in the slowest part of the process? Because those are very different things. If you're saving. If you're investing. If you're avoiding unnecessary lifestyle inflation. If you're consistently buying assets. Then progress is happening whether you can see it or not. And that might be the most important lesson in personal finance. Most people never reach their first $100,000 because they quit during the boring stage. The people who eventually become wealthy aren't always the smartest. They aren't always the highest earners. They're simply the people who stay in the game long enough for compounding to start working. Because financial freedom doesn't belong to the people who earn the most money. It belongs to the people who refuse to quit before their money finally begins working for them. And for many people, the journey to their first $100,000 starts the moment they understand that difference.